Where's your mic? Get the mic.
All right, as we can all tell, we've been on a search for why he is the way he is. And through some long hours, late nights, Trey and I did some genetic research and realized that this is not something about being, flipped upside down. This is actually a genetic disorder. And I wanted to raise awareness. I apologize for kind of bringing us all down to earth here, because it's very sad that he's inflicted this with this disorder. Oh, I'm getting to that. That's the most disturbing part. There's only 2 more known carriers in the world. Trey and myself, and that's why this is of particular interest to us. The disease, of course, is ooch chondritis.
So as Dustin said, the disease only currently affects 1 person in the world, but there's 2 more at risk. We spent the better part of our free time the last 2 years trying to find symptoms, so if we saw something, we would know that we're afflicted with it. And so we figured we'd bring you through some of the symptoms that we know are ooch chondritis. So the first symptom is we put it as mild, but I'd say a severe form of narcolepsy. So we didn't think that the Wikipedia definitions fit, so we went with our own, which is the incredible hyperactivity and inability to sit still that comes with the disease causes the body to be incredibly overworked. In order to sustain the hyperactivity, those affected must sleep in frequent, short bursts. So, we all know about his 8 p.m. bedtimes. We all know about his weekend spent napping. Many of us know that he sleeps under his desk at work, but a lot of people don't.
George Costanza!
I did that a month ago.
But for people that don't truly understand the seriousness of this disease, we put together some case studies, some documentation of what's happening. So I want to bring us back to the fishing trip in 2013. And I feel bad because it was a long way out to sea. So the next one is the train to tailgate 2014. Very excited. We thought that he was all up the last night. He thought Illinois was going undefeated in football this year.
Yeah, right.
Which brings us to the actual tailgate 2012. It's time to celebrate. Came all the way there, had all the energy built up. It's time to celebrate. Now it's not just big time, it's not just the fishing trips, the tailgates. It's a everyday task. So let's bring us to retrieving the newspaper. I feel bad we've been roasting him so bad, but I mean, have you guys seen how far our driveway is? Huge! Alright. Let's go with Book Club 2009. I don't blame you. The books, they're boring. It's not.
They're paper.
Let's go to Dog Ass on Face 2005.
Like my dog.
Is there another way to sleep? Is there another way to sleep? Now, one thing I will say is we were concerned early on our initial research. It wasn't conclusive. We thought it might have been a viral disease. So let's flip to this one. Mr. Rahal. Our host.
There we go. Let's shoot at somebody else.
We're happy to say Mr. Rahal, he showed signs, but he's not a carrier. We did want to take a moment to thank Mr. Rahal for having everyone here. So.
Martin, time for bed.
Okay, the next symptom on our list here is hyperactivity. When he is not sleeping, the man cannot sit still, and he is constantly working on new innovations, as I'm sure you have seen. We're going to only detail one specific innovation today, but this was kind of a package deal, and it resulted in some pretty big change. I don't know if any of you know this, but shortly after the 2007 marathon, he was offered a job at Nike as the lead product design. During the year, he had always pondered the question, I love listening to my iPod when I run, but I always slobber it with sweat and it gets broken. So how do I manage to carry the iPod with me and not break it? I can't put it in my pocket because it would jingle and that would bother me to no end. I can't buy an armband because those cost $8. The normal man may have given up at that point, but not Tom Ward. What did he do? He called his mom. After a few days in a think tank, they emerged with the solution. Sew a disgusting pocket on the front of my shirt and stick the iPod in it. This seems like it would solve all the problems. He's got his iPod, he's got music on when he's running, right? No. Wrong. The added weight caused friction on his chest area that he could not handle. So what is the answer then? This was a quick fix, an easy fix. You just cut circles out. So now he's got his music, his nipples are free. And he's ready to run the marathon. There's still a problem.
There's still one problem.
There is a problem. Any other person would be happy, free in the wind, with the music in their ears, they'd be happy to run the marathon. Not Tom Ward. How am I going to stick out wearing this outfit out of 20,000 people? Not possible. Not possible. So, once again, Tom Ward came out with an answer. Ooch, Mark, get the sewing machine. And to this day, I don't really know how to describe what they did next. They sewed a column down the back of his shirt that would house a dowel rod to which they could attach a balloon.
A wooden strip would go in the towel rod.
And thus, Balloon Man was born.
So the next symptom that we want to go through is social awkwardness. And, again, there's a lot of different ways to be awkward.
You mean like this?
We're only going to be able to scratch the surface, so if one use case gets left out, let's not worry about it. We're probably just going after one of the most visible ones to me and Trey.
Go ahead, get on the next slide. So we define it as repeatedly saying the wrong thing at the wrong time. The key is thinking it's normal. And there's never a better time to, we went through all these, and there's tons of examples. We figured the best one would be to explain how my dad met Michelle and Gianna, our girlfriends. And these are real. This is true.
Yes, this is all true. Michelle can attest. So Michelle and I had been dating for a few months, and it was time to bring her home from Champaign and introduce her to the parents. I pondered, do I talk to him about general do's and don'ts? Do say this, don't say that. But ultimately I realized it was fruitless. Kind of like a wind-up doll. Once it's going, there's no stopping. There's no brakes on this train. So the introductions had been made, and I was just talking with my mom, and I would say no more than probably 5 minutes in, I turn and overhear their conversation, and my dad is talking about our old dog Dixie, rest in peace, and how ooch. So we brought her over to the. She was in heat, so we brought her over to the stud dog, so they could make the puppies. And I tell you, they couldn't get it going. They never got it going. But, and so I stood there.
Don't deny that, would you please?
I stood there somewhat amazed, yet at the same time, very not amazed, because that he had just talked about it. Exactly. But I was amazed, yet not amazed, because it is him. And he did just talk about impregnating dogs to my girlfriend within 5 minutes of meeting her. And I kind of thought about it for a little bit, and I realized at the end of the day, it is pretty good conversation, Father. So I couldn't get too angry.
So I
worse.
Well, so I had learned from Dustin's mistake, and me decided that we didn't at that time know what exactly was, we found out later his disease, but at the time we knew he needed help, so we gave him a little talk about girlfriend etiquette, and to his credit, he did improve. So a year later, Gianna, who's here tonight, had the pleasure of meeting my dad, and fully aware of his missteps, I decided I was going to watch his conversations like a hawk. Nothing was going to slide with him. He, fortunately, had already shot himself in the foot before the conversations began. We were at a tailgate. He walked up with his polo inside out.
Actually, they can do that.
He wanted to let Gian know that he wasn't weird, so he explained that he had spilled the morning pudding all over his shirt and stained it, so he had to turn it inside out so he looked like an idiot.
Smile.
Because he had pudding on his shirt, didn't want to look dumb.
I'm glad you came tonight.
So that makes sense, yeah.
So, social awkwardness aside, we did discover that the disease does have some benefits. For 60 years old, I'll give him credit. He looks pretty good. Full head of hair, relatively slim, 10-ish marathons under his belt, of which he paid for 2. But this didn't really quite make sense, so Trey and I decided to investigate how this disease affected where he is today, and what happens to people with hyperoochatoma chondritis. They have an uncanny ability to heal. And the most recent example, and the best one I think you could ever ask for, happened within the last year. 5 months ago, my dad, an avid runner, suffered an injury to his foot, which he said, the doctor says it's either a dancer's foot or it's a broken bone. And I'll spare you the details of what exactly is dancer's foot, because God knows you've probably all heard it 5 times. The doctor's orders were, keep your foot elevated, wear the boot as often as possible, do not walk around with the boot off, ice your foot, and get plenty of rest. Okay. He did do the last one. If you follow these instructions and get a bit of luck, you'll be healed in 6 weeks and you can avoid surgery. Fast forward to 3 weeks, and we are in Mexico on vacation, and Scooter Man has decided to be a good patient, and he decides that, I'm going to play this right. I'm going to try not to walk. So he borrows his mother's scooter.
It was winter.
Brings it to the airport. We go through the pain in the ass that was checking it in. We get it off the plane. He rides it once. Then, as we're packing the car, he can no longer wait for his 2 strapping young sons next to him to put it in the trunk. So the man with the broken foot, who was just minutes ago riding said scooter, is picking the scooter up over his head into the car. This was followed by walking around pretty much non-stop with the boot off. He couldn't sleep with the boot on because that was way too hot. And he did find that it was an effective flipper because he has never swam better in the ocean than he did that day. Fast forward to the doctor's appointment where we all, I personally was anxiously awaiting the doctor to say, did you really do what I said? Your foot is in worse shape, actually, than when you came first. But, as was alluded to earlier today, the luckiest man in the world, yeah, fine, go on. Completely fine, ideal patient.
Right, another benefit of the disease is his eating habits, and he somehow doesn't gain a single pound. So, as a lifetime member of the Clean Plate Club, my dad relies on a steady diet of cakes, pies, breakfast pastries, puddings, jams, jellies, jellos, and ice cream. Any type of ice cream. To maintain a slim and chiseled frame. It's like a 6-year-old in a bakery. Obviously the running helps to build this form, but there's one last piece that makes him really what he is, and it's the dancing.
Yeah.
I always leave the room here.
Here's the teaser.
No. Bowls game.
All right, sorry, technical difficulty.
Put DVD in. Forget about it.
Hold on.
Yeah, you guys are moving. Do that all the way along.
Before this happened, Margaret has showed everybody in DuPage County this thing. You live in Lake County or Cook County, you'll see this for the first time.
Is there any bottle water over there?
She's nailed everybody in DuPage.
This is for the one person who hasn't seen it.
No. Do you have a Stella? Is there a Stella over here? I don't want you to get a. No. Just stay. I'll drink a beer instead. No. Oh.
We're going to allow one rebuttal. A prelude. He just wants to set it up. He just wants to set it up.
They need to know the setup. Okay, no I won't. This is my ex-friend that visited us from the Upper Peninsula. Yeah, he's no longer a friend. He came down with his kids and they wanted to go to a game on Good Friday, a Bulls game. And Dustin had extra nosebleed seats.
Free nosebleed.
So, he wanted to go to the Bulls game with his sons. So I said, okay, all right. We got Dustin's. Anyways, I didn't like the seats in the nosebleed, so I said, let's just go down and we'll find good seats. I'll take care of the Andy Frame. So when I was talking to the Andy Frame, they left and found seats. So I eventually caught up to him. But in the time it took him before I caught up to him, he had seen a cheerleader, coordinator, whatever you want to call her, talking with someone at the end of the row. And anyways, so I got there and sat down, and like at the end of the first quarter, the cheerleader came up to find this guy at the end of the row, and he realizes he's not there. This guy sees this all happening. And so he realizes he's had something going on, and this guy's going AWOL. So he points to me behind my back and says, he'll do it. And so she comes up to me and says, will you dance on court and help us out? And I said, oh, there'll be 50 people dancing. I'll do it. So I beat a big guy. She goes, I'll tell you about it on the way down. On the way down, she tells me you're going to be dancing against another guy at half court. And I'm like, you're kidding me. And I realize she's not kidding me, and I'm not out of this here. And so I sit on. Then I get on the floor, and about a few seconds later, I meet the guy who's I'm dancing against. Of course, he's black. And then, within 30 seconds, the buzzer rings, and the first quarter's over, and I was on this court for 60 seconds, and before you know it, we're all marching out to center court. So, what happens after that? But that's I'm still trying to get this friend back. This was in front of 15,000 people.
To dance with their shoppers. Bobby and Jim. Love a chance to dance for a free meal from McDonald's. No wonder you won.
So at the end of the day, Trey and I both realized we may have this illness, and I couldn't be happier. Yeah, I couldn't be happier. You're the man.